Today, we're going to take a look back at a Packers draft class that had a huge impact on this team's ability to transition well into the Aaron Rodgers era. The year is 2008, and after losing in overtime to the eventual Super Bowl champion New York Giants in a 2007 NFC Championship game, the Packers were looking both to rebuild the roster to help their new quarterback in Aaron Rodgers and take a couple of insurance picks if the young Rodgers didn't work out. So let's go ahead and break down these 9 players whose careers started in Green Bay. After the Packers traded out of the first round to acquire their just 36th and 113th picks in the 2008 draft, the Packers then used that 36th overall pick to select Jordy Nelson, a big-bodied wide receiver out of Kansas State. It took a while for Nelson to get consistent playing time with the Packers, as he entered his rookie season into a wide receiver room that included Pro Bowlers Donald Driver and Greg Jennings, as well as 2007 draft pick James Jones in it. His first 3 years were uneventful, as he didn't have a season over 600 receiving yards or over 2 touchdowns so far, but his big breakout actually came in Super Bowl 45 against the Steelers, where Nelson had 9 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown in place of injured vet Donald Driver to help put the Packers over the Steelers to win the franchise's 4th Lombardi trophy. From there, Nelson just exploded in production, as his connection with Aaron Rodgers produced one of the deadliest quarterback wide receiver duos in the early 2010s. He had over 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns in 2011, though he somehow missed a Pro Bowl that year and became one of the best sideline back-shoulder ball catchers in the NFL. He missed some time in 2012 due to a hamstring injury, but came back in 2013 and 2014 with back-to-back 1,300-yard, 8-touchdown seasons, making the Pro Bowl in 2014 following a 1,500-yard, 13-touchdown season. But 2015 did not go well for Nelson, as he tore his ACL in a preseason game against the Steelers. 2016, though, was a completely different story, as he won NFL Comeback Player of the Year award following a 1,200-yard, 14-touchdown season where he yet again did not make the Pro Bowl somehow. But 2016 was his last productive year, as in 2017, when the Packers did not go to plan following the shoulder injury to Aaron Rodgers, and Jordy just aging a bit caused him to only have 400 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. He was released by the Packers after 10 seasons and spent his final year with the Raiders before retiring with the Packers following 2018. For his time with the Packers, Nelson played in 10 seasons, only 9 of production due to the ACL tear, appearing in 136 games, starting in 88 of them, recording 550 receptions, 7,848 receiving yards, 69 receiving touchdowns, being selected to 1 Pro Bowl, should have been invited to at least 3 more, 1 Comeback Player of the Year award, and was a member of the Super Bowl winning Packers in 2010. For this selection, I'm going to give the Nelson pick a grade of A+, as he was the perfect weapon for this new era of the Packers, as he became Aaron Rodgers' favorite target of the early 2010s and helped his team win the ultimate prize of the Lombardi trophy. He might not be a Hall of Famer, but he's for sure a Packers Hall of Famer and was an absolute treat to watch for me growing up. The Packers decided in the second round to take a very highly touted quarterback prospect that they could develop and put in the lineup in case that Aaron Rodgers guy didn't work out. And to do that, they selected Brian Brohm out of Louisville. Brohm was once considered a first-round prospect for the 2007 draft, but he fell into the second round of the 2008 draft due to a very disappointing senior year at Louisville that he decided to stay at for. And sadly for Brohm, but very good for the Packers, that Aaron Rodgers guy turned out to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and that very much limited Brohm's development as he barely got to see the field as a Packer, being relegated to being the third-string quarterback behind fellow draft mate Matt Flynn. He never set foot on the field for the Packers before being released early in the 2009 season and was picked up by the Bills. He stayed on the Bills roster throughout the 2010 season and even made a couple of starts, but threw 5 interceptions in just 3 games in Buffalo. He never played in the NFL following the 2010 season and bounced around the UFL and CFL before becoming a college coach. He never recorded any stats for the Packers and lasted just one season on the Packers roster. For this pick, I'm going to give Brom a grade of D-. The only reason why this is not an F is because of the logic the Packers used while selecting him. I completely understand the Packers taking a highly touted quarterback prospect in case Aaron Rodgers didn't work out. But Rodgers did work out, and Brom didn't, and he couldn't even beat out Matt Flynn to be the backup. Just an unfortunate waste of a pick. Rounding out the 3 Packers second-round draft picks was Pat Lee out of Auburn. Looking for Lee to be the third corner behind starters Al Harris and Charles Woodson, he ended up being 5th on the depth chart behind both Tramon Williams and Will Blackman, and barely saw the field in 2008. He ended up being put on injured reserve in December of his rookie year, and didn't play at all in 2009 due to a lingering knee injury. Lee made his first start in 2010 and was a key member of the Packers special team during their run to the Lombardi Trophy in 2010. He stayed with the Packers in 2011 as a special teamer, and due to a variety of mental mistakes, including bobbling a kickoff snap and trying to get it back in the end zone for a safety, he was not returned the following season. Lee spent 2012 split between the Raiders and Lions before retiring following 2012. For his time with the Packers, Lee spent 3 seasons with them, appearing in 32 games, starting in one of them, recording 23 total tackles, 19 solo, and had 1 pass deflection, and he did receive a Super Bowl ring in 2010. I'm going to give this pick a grade of D+, as you don't really want a second-round pick to just be a special teamer. When he drafted him, the pair of some really good corners, but he was a solid special teamer that helped the Packers win a Super Bowl in 2010, so he at least has that going for him. It looked like the Packers took one of the best and up-and-coming tight ends in all of football in Texas's Jermichael Finley, until injuries, just as he was about to hit his prime, ended his football-playing days way earlier than it should have been. It took him a year to entrench himself as a starter, as Donald Lee blocked his way during his 2008 rookie season, but when he won the starting job during his sophomore year, he turned into a very reliable target for our young Aaron Rodgers. The 2010 season came to an early end for Finley, as a knee injury knocked him out for the remainder of the season following the Packers' Week 5 game against Washington, though he still won a Super Bowl ring being a part of the team. His 2011 was Finley's best year, as he had 750 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns, being a part of that absolutely stacked 2011 Packers offense. His 2012 was yet another solid season for Finley, and he was on his way to a fantastic 2013 season before he suffered a devastating neck injury against the Browns that ended his playing career just as he was entering his prime. For his career, Finley played for 6 seasons with the Packers, appearing in 17 games, starting in 48 of them, recording 223 receptions, 2,785 receiving yards, and 20 receiving touchdowns. I'm giving this pick a grade of B because Finley was really good when he was healthy with the Packers, but that dang neck injury ruined any chance he had to continue developing to be one of the best tight ends in the NFL. The Packers of the mid to late 2010s really missed having a productive tight end in their offense, and if Finley never got hurt, they would have had that missing piece. Just a really good player that had the worst injury luck. This is going to be a pretty quick summary, as a massive neck injury cost Thompson his NFL career after just 1.5 years. He showed a bit of promise in his rookie season as he appeared in 9 games, even starting in 3 of them, but he didn't record a sack and just had a couple of really nice plays in the run game. But just 6 games into his second season, Thompson suffered a massive neck injury that landed him on the injured reserve, and he retired the following year. For his very short NFL career, he spent 2 seasons with the Packers, appearing in 15 games, starting in 3 of them, recording 9 total tackles, 6 of them solo, and 1 tackle for loss. For this pick, I'm going to give Thompson an F, as he just didn't do anything on the field due to his neck injury, but he did have a very successful off-field career, become a freaking orthopedic surgeon of all things, so good on him for that. Now, this is what the Packers are known for: finding great offensive line talent in the mid-rounds of the draft. And it really started here in 2008 with the drafting of Josh Sitton out of UCF. He spent most of his rookie year as a backup, appearing in 11 games and starting 2 of them due to injuries on the offensive line. But his second year is when he made his debut as one of the starting guards on the Packers offensive line, and he will not let go of that role, starting in all 16 games for the Packers for 6 of the next 7 years. Sitton was a starter when the Packers won Super Bowl 45 and made the Pro Bowl in 2012, 2014, and 2015 with Green Bay, as well as being a second-team All-Pro from 2013 through 2015. The Packers then decided to release Sitton right before the 2016 season in a very surprising move, and he was then signed by the Bears. He spent 2 seasons with Chicago, making one last Pro Bowl in 2016 before spending 1 year with the Dolphins, where his career ended after 1 game with them due to a torn rotator cuff. Sitton retired following the 2019 season and was inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame in 2023. For his Packers career, Sitton played for 8 years, appearing in 121 games, starting in 112 of them, made 3 Pro Bowls, made 3 second-team All-Pros, and won Super Bowl 45 as a starter. For this selection, I have to give this pick a grade of A+, as finding starting offensive line talent is hard. Finding starting offensive line talent this late in the draft is hard. Finding all-pro level starting offensive talent this late is really, really hard. Sitton was an excellent Packer and helped protect Aaron Rodgers through the peak of his career. Looking to get some additional offensive line depth, the Packers selected Breno Giacomini out of Louisville with their 5th round pick. The problem for Breno is that the Packers had a really good tackle duo already entrenched in Chad Clifton and Mark Tauscher, and they drafted Brian Bulaga in 2010 to replace one of those guys in the first round of that draft. He only appeared in 1 game for the Packers in his Packers career, but he was able to find success past his time in Green Bay, as the Seahawks signed him prior to the 2011 season and was a consistent starter for them for the next 3 seasons, even being a starter for their Super Bowl win in 2013. He then signed a pretty big contract with the Jets, where he was a starter for them for a couple of years, before spending his 2017 season with the Texans. For his time with the Packers, he just spent 1 season on the active roster and appeared in 1 game. And for Green Bay, I'm going to give it a grade of D for this pick, as the Packers would write that Giacomini could become a starter in the league. The problem was that the Packers already had 2 really good starters on the roster, and then when 1 left, they spent a first-round pick on one right when Giacomini could have stepped into that role, but he still had a very successful NFL career and retired as a Super Bowl champion. Coming off of a very successful final year at college, where he led LSU to the BCS National Championship and was named the game's MVP, it was a bit surprising that the Packers drafted Matt Flynn. They already had a young Aaron Rodgers and spent a 2nd-round pick in a highly touted quarterback prospect in Brian Braum. But Flynn surprised many people while winning the backup job over Braum and showed a bit of potential in the 2 starts that he made in his time with Green Bay the first go-around. In 2010, replacing an injured Aaron Rodgers against the Patriots, Flynn had over 400 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in a close loss to prime Tom Brady. Then in 2011, Flynn had another masterclass performance, as in Week 17 against the Lions, when the Packers were resting most of their starters. Flynn had over 500 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, which is a Packers franchise record, as he led them to a come-from-behind victory against prime Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson. That earned him a pretty big contract with the Seahawks in the following offseason to be their starter, but he actually lost that job to a rookie Russell Wilson and was traded to the Raiders prior to the 2013 season. He lasted about 6 months as a Raider before being released, and Flynn was then signed to the Packers for a second go-around after they injured Aaron Rodgers during the 2013 season. And he basically saved the Packers season that year by winning 2 key games against the Vikings and Cowboys to help the team make the playoffs. He spent 2014 as the Packers' backup, before bouncing around several practice squads before retiring following the 2015 season. For his career with the Packers, Flynn played for 6 seasons, appearing in 46 games, 6 of them starts, recording a record of 3-3 with 2,227 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a completion percentage of 61.1%, and a passer rating of 86.3. For this pick, I'm going to give the Packers a grade of B-, as getting a good backup quarterback this late in the draft is pretty solid, and Flynn had some great performances with the Packers, especially in 2013, as he came in basically off the streets and saved the Packers' season. The Packers decided to spend their last pick of the draft on a flyer wide receiver to see if they could get anything out of it, and they drafted Brett Swain out of San Diego State for that purpose. He spent most of his career as a backup wide receiver, though he did win Super Bowl 45 with Green Bay, and Swain spent his 2011 season with the 49ers before never playing in the NFL again. For his Packers career, Swain played for 2 seasons, appearing in 22 games, starting in 1 of them, recording 6 receptions and 72 yards. For this selection, I'm giving a grade of C+, as getting any sort of NFL production out of a pick this late is pretty incredible. And so overall for this draft, it was a very key draft for the Packers, as it essentially helped them win a Super Bowl and compete for future Super Bowls throughout the 2010s. The draft selections of Jordy Nelson and Josh Sitton really carry this class, as they were key starters in a Packers Super Bowl win and solidified themselves as Packers legend. Jermichael Finley and Matt Flynn were also very solid selections that helped the Packers compete for the playoffs in the following years. Overall, I had to give the Packers a B for this draft, as they hit on some really good players. But 2 out of their 3 second-round picks were absolute busts, so this is the highest I can grade this draft overall. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.